Gave me a little
Williams.
I'm sorry, and I've known you for years.
I know.
Start again. Willie Williams
It's tricky.
has been a member of Toastmasters for over 2 years. He's a retired school teacher and ordained deacon, and currently serves as corporate chaplain at a metal turning and fabrication plant. His own personal family tragedy and years of ministry work have provided an insight in the area of grief journey. As he points out, an encounter with grief is not a matter of if, but when. And when the next challenge occurs, we can be agents of healing. Please welcome Willie Williams for his speech number 9 in the CC manual. The Power to Persuade. The title of his speech is Good Grief. Willie Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and to our guests this evening, welcome. January 1st, New Year's Day, 2009, was a day celebrated much like probably all of you here. It was a day of parades and television watching and football games. And on the screen appeared a caller ID from the Kane County Sheriff's Department. Do you know Anthony Williams? Yes, he's my son. He's been hurt. He's at St. Joseph's Hospital in Elgin if you'd like to see him. Of course. And it was on that day that my heart was shredded. It was sent through the paper shredder. My 28-year-old son died of a massive and sudden heart attack. I share that story with you as a backdrop to this message that came to me as an inspiration out of a scripture about the 10 lepers. And it was out of that message that I saw a way in which I could deal with grief better, and that I could be someone that could help another on the journey of grief. And it was in that that I discovered 3 simple actions that would help. Number one is to cry. C, cry. Too often we hear of people that are going through grief and say, oh, please don't cry. That is contradictory to what people need and can grow from. The crying is called the cleansing of the soul. And what I suggest to you in that first piece of advice is to shut up and just listen. And more importantly, to cry with the person who is grieving. 2 weeks ago on this very day was Toastmasters, and prior to going to the meeting, I was going to visit my daughter-in-law's grandfather, who was at Central DuPage Hospital. Little did I know, I'd be ushered into the family consultation room about a discussion of removing him from life support this very day 2 weeks ago. And I sat with the grandmother. 63 years they were married. And the grieving, the wailing that was going on in that decision. And what was more important is to just sit alongside of her and to just cry with her. How important it is to cry. Another important insight that I got from that is a notion of initiate. Too often, I had heard through the early days of our tragic experience, people use this expression. Call me if you need anything. I'm just a phone call away. I can share from my own personal testimony, the words are worthless. It is worthless to tell a grieving person to call me. It is far more healing to call them. To take the courage to call, to send the sympathy cards at the month anniversary, at 6 months. And it's become part of my discovery to do that for others that are grieving. That if I were invited into that very intimate and personal pain, then it's my obligation to continue the grief journey with them. And so what I do now is, in my calendar, in my day planner, at the day in which the death occurred, at 1 month later, to write in advance their name and address, to do that again at other months before holidays, so that what will happen in my memory will be lost. But when I advance to those days, I'll see their name and the convenience of their address written right there. And I can send them a card, to drop them an email, to continue in support. It takes initiative to do that. And then finally, an A for appreciate. In the story, it's to show appreciation for what you have. And I have to tell you, I will never appreciate that I have grown through that loss. The loss was too great. But I have found a way to take the simple things and appreciate those. To appreciate those moments when my son would come in the door and he would say, "Hi, Pops." Those moments when he would kid with me or we would joke back and forth. And I will forever appreciate to have the memory of cupping the side of his face and tapping his jaw and calling him Sonny Boy. I will forever appreciate that. And that's what I offer to you this evening, is that you would join me in becoming CIA agents along that grief journey. And what I suggest to you is that grieving well, good grief, is living well. Mr. Toastmaster.